civil society and opposition parties pushing against the proposed amendments to the Constitution. Over to you, Leanne.
Indeed. Thanks very much, Sakina. So, as you say, different organizations, mostly civil society, some opposition parties. In fact, I think there are even some parliamentary critics inside Parliament that are pushing against this proposed amendment to the country's constitution. They're calling on citizens to reject the considerations at the public hearings scheduled for later this month. These developments have been highly criticized and are said to be largely about enhancing the power of the executive, consolidating dictatorship, weakening parliament oversight, and negatively impacting the independence of the judiciary. In studio with us to talk more about this, we've got Tino Mambeu, who's a political analyst and coordinator for the Zimbabwe Exile Forum. Thank you, Tino. Thank you very much for coming in to discuss this with us.
Thank you very much.
So from what we are reading is there are actually 27 proposed amendments within the Constitution. That's a lot. That is a lot. But let's maybe just start out. When was this all suggested? How did it all begin?
Well, let me probably start by explaining to your viewers what a constitution basically is. Now, a constitution is the supreme law of the land. A constitution is a higher law. A constitution is that set of laws which determines where the country goes in terms of the future, the generations to come. Now, towards the end of the year 2019, the government of Mr. Mnangagwa started pondering about bringing wholesale changes to the constitution. I think they brought that to Parliament during the festive season, the festive era. And the crux of the matter here is that since I have said that the constitution is the supreme law of the land, it should not be a law that is amended to suit the interests of a politician, the interests of the government of the day, but the constitution should always be there to guide the nation into where it goes to, how the people behave, and that should not be done by politicians to try and cover up for their interests.
Indeed. Very much so, like the Constitution of South Africa, very respected, trusted, and there to protect the individuals in South Africa, the citizens of the country, and everybody else. Now, let's get back to what's happening in Zimbabwe. 27 proposed amendments that the ruling ZANU-PF want to introduce. Talk to us about them. What are some of the proposed amendments?
Well, I think the biggest and the one that has been resisted most is basically about 3 or 2 of them.
Yeah.
There is an amendment which seeks to give the president powers to appoint judges of the High Court, to appoint judges into the Constitutional Court. And also it goes as far as saying that when a judge has reached the retirement age of 70, the president has the authority to extend his term in office, probably with 1 year at a time. Okay. But how that process unfolds is that the president will receive a medical report, and according to him, he will then decide whether the judge is fit for office or not. It is common cause and common knowledge that he who feeds you normally controls you. So if we have got a scenario where the president is able, as he wants to do, to extend the term of office of a judge on the basis of a medical report that he himself or he or she can then say, I see it fit to give you another 1 year in office. Yeah. All that means is that if the president, for whatever reason, feels uncomfortable with the judge, the next year is not going to renew his term in office. So that is a very, very problematic situation, because at the end of the day, the Constitution guides how people behave. The Constitution tells us that we should have trust in our judiciary. But there is disharmony when the judiciary seems to be captured by politicians. So at the end of the day, the president now wants to have executive powers to appoint the judges of the High Court. You will know very well that we have just come out of a process that was probably unconstitutional, though at the time it occurred, it was supported by the masses. That says the judiciary, received court applications which said that the coup which happened in 2017 was unconstitutional. Yeah. And the judgment there was from the judges was this coup has been a constitutional coup. And I don't know of any country or anywhere in the world where a coup has been described as constitutional. That is what happened in Zimbabwe. So this adds to the doubt that is already hanging around the judiciary. We have brought a court case, in terms of challenging the election of 2018. And the judges did not, come to the party. They behaved in a manner that made people believe that they are captured. So this is a process of capturing the judiciary in a manner that puts the president in a comfortable position for him to be able to tamper around with the laws.
So this is, again, I mean, this when you talk about the judiciary, this is taking almost the independence of the judiciary away.
Yes.
Because as it stands right now, if my understanding is correct, the public actually are involved in the nomination process of the judiciary and judges.
Yes.
But now the president wants to take that away and say, we're going to have full authority over that. So that's the one amendment that you're really worried about. You mentioned there were 2 or 3. Talk to us about
now,
the others.
Let's go to the third one, the second one on the judiciary there. We have got now a clause which seeks to say the president appoints the prosecutor general or the chief prosecutor. That again is a problem in the sense that it gives the president the ability to appoint whoever that he so wishes, and whoever the president appoints then becomes a toy for the president. That has got to be resisted. Yeah. And also the third one is that there was a clause which should have come into effect in 2023. This clause required that there should be a running mate. The running mate scenario is when we go into elections for the presidency, there will be automatically a leader or a deputy of the president who is chosen as a running mate. That provides then, or that fixes the problem of succession. As you would have seen, I'll make reference again to 2017. Mr. Mnangagwa was chased away from government by Mr. Mugabe. Yeah. And all of a sudden, when Mr. Mugabe was now being taken out of office, he was taken from South Africa, where he was a refugee here, without him being a deputy president. And he was thrust upon the people of Zimbabwe. Now, the Constitution had now provided that from 2023 there will be a running mate clause which enables the electorate to choose the president, also having understood who is likely to take over when the president is indisposed. Yeah. Now they are taking away that and they are saying, okay, we want the party which is in the majority, or the party of the president who was there, to be able again to select who takes over when the president becomes indisposed. And the wrong thing with that is you have a party which gives the people of Zimbabwe a candidate for presidency which the people of Zimbabwe may not really like. So if we had the running mate clause, it would enable, during elections, for the electorate to choose 2 people, the one being the president and the other one being the vice president, and knowing full that if the president is no longer there, this man who we have chosen is also going to be our president. But now that is being taken away. And unfortunately, the tendency we see here is that the politicians or the government of Mr. Mnangagwa is reacting to hearsay, is reacting to rumors to try and diffuse tensions within ZANU-PF in terms of succession around Vice President Chiwenga and himself, Mr. Mnangagwa. So a constitution should never be tempered around with to suit the conditions of the day. A constitution is a document, or it's a set of laws that will outlive a political party. A constitution is a document that will outlive a government of the day. Yeah. So it should never be tempered around in the manner that it is being done, so that you can suit the desires of Mr. Mnangagwa.
So, I mean, besides all of these, there are so many more. I mean, there are 27 amendments. I read the one where they're talking to, they're wanting more ministers in parliament that don't even have parliamentary seats. They're asking for the inclusion of that. And then the one that also is quite worrying for particularly women's organizations and women's groups is the fact that they want to extend the quota system by 10 years, so that they're just kicking the ball down the road so they don't have to meet it. That is also very worrisome. So we can see these constitutional problems.
It is indeed worrying, Leanne.
I imagine so, but I want to, in the interest of time, talk to the response of ZANU-PF. As much as you're standing in the way, they are saying, not a chance. We've got 2/3 majority. We can do what we want. Those are the words of the Justice, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs Minister, Ziambi, saying, no, we've got the 2/3. We can change.
That is the biggest problem we have in Zimbabwe. When we vote for a political party, or by default or by whatever means, a political party forms government, it should never be a government that is formed primarily to amend laws. The purpose of government is to make sure that the people that are led, or the people within that particular country, can at least enjoy their lives. But in this very moment, the government of ZANU-PF is amending the constitution, which has now become its primary target. They have lost respect for the constitution. And unfortunately, judging on the 2/3 majority which they rigged themselves into, they now want to change the constitution. Would you have expected that they should be fighting hunger? There is no bread right now in Zimbabwe. There is no mealie meal right now in Zimbabwe. There are endless queues for fuel. Those are the matters that a government of the day should be addressing. I don't understand how appointing a judge of the High Court will help in the hunger crisis that we face. In any event, this is a matter that is being done, that is being put into the constitution to try and legitimize Mr. Mnangagwa, who everybody knows that is an illegitimate president, and therefore is bringing in clauses that are archaic, that are known to be done the world over by dictators. It's quite unfortunate that they want to ride on the 2/3 majority to try, 2/3 majority is essentially about 60% of the vote. But this constitution that we are talking about, it was approved by about 96% of Zimbabweans. They alluded to the constitution. So how come that we can have, parliamentarians playing around with the constitution in such manner? It's very deplorable.
Yeah, and this constitution, it's been around since 2013.
It has been around since 2013.
And now they want to amend it again.
It has not been fully implemented to the spirit that it was designed for. And unfortunately, would you have expected that the government of Mr. Mnangagwa would be, putting mechanisms to make sure that the people who, like myself, who are in the diaspora are enabled to vote? That is, these 27 wholesale amendments that they want to issue, they have nothing to do with the people like us who should be given the opportunity to vote for the leader of the country in the coming elections, if there will be elections in 2023.
Let's leave it there. That was Tino Mambeu, who is a coordinator for the Zimbabwe Exile Forum, reflecting on those proposed amendments to the Constitution of Zimbabwe and what changes, if they are brought about, the amendments will make on that country. Let's take a break. We'll see you again after this.